This is Rob Carbone, and you're listening to BD4, where there's no better way to get your Yankees and Knicks analysis.
Barrett from shake and bake, hits a three. That's alive in the crowd with Barrett. 5 on the 24. Barrett previously in the air ball. The drive, the land, backs him home. Gets it back, keeps it out there. Barrett for three. RJ Barrett from down. He's got a quick trigger three. Gets another triple. Looking for more. Flip of the buzzer. Oh, it's gone! J.R. Smith from way downtown at the buzzer. Novak, good open look. Puts it in. Into Ewing. That'll make the Garden War.
Ewing facing a double team, but still was able to hit.
Knox with the finish. And the foul. Novak, good open look. Puts it in. Excellent ball move.
Houston ducks under. Got it! With 8 tenths left.
What is going on, guys? This is Rob Carbone coming at you with another episode of BD4, where there is no better way to get your Yankees and Knicks analysis. Hope everybody's doing all right tonight, or this morning as you're listening to this. It should be May 21st on a, Jesus Christ, I don't even know the days of the week anymore, guys. Isn't that terrible? I've actually lost track of the days of the week. It's really bad, but hope everybody's all right. You know, I'm still hanging in there. You know, took a break last night. Didn't put out an episode, but you know, here and there I will take breaks. But for the most part, during this quarantine, I'm trying to stay busy every day. You know, at the very, you know, if I do take a day, that'll be an occasional day. You know, I'm trying to put out an episode every night or every other night at the worst. So trying to stay active and stay busy with the podcast. But we're kind of running out of talent here with these, you know, second round prospects, these late first round prospects. You know, we're heading on our, I don't know, we're kind of getting close to 20 something individuals that we've picked apart so far. So I'm hoping that I'm thinking sometime within the next, I would say, don't, you know, hold me to my word on this. It's just an estimate, but I want to say sometime between the next 3 or 4 prospects. After that, we'll start heading upwards towards, you know, the more exciting lottery picks. So tonight we're going to dive into Patrick Williams. You know, we're going to talk about him a lot. There's been some talk about this kid, and we're gonna dive into a lot about him, about Patrick Williams. But there has been a little bit more, you know, going around, I guess, in the headlines, you know, around social media. We've heard a bunch of shit with the Knicks. A little more of this unnecessary bullshit that I don't even know why I'm gonna bring up. Drama with Oakley and Ewing. I don't even want to drag Ewing into this because it's really just Oakley stirring up his own pot of drama here. But yeah, it was a couple days ago. Charles Oakley on Barstool Radio, you know, said something. I have it quoted. Let me find it real quick. Here it is. He said, Charles Oakley on Patrick Ewing on Barstool Radio the other day quoted this. He says, people want to say he had a 23-10 career, referring to Patrick Ewing. It's not about just scoring points. I mean, we give him the ball 25 times a game. He should score. I mean, do I really need to pick apart how stupid that sounds, how stupid that is to say? First of all, it's unnecessary. You know, I think, you know, I'm no psychologist or anything, therapist or whatever, but I honestly think Oakley is bored. He has nothing to do. He just wants attention right now, and I think that's inside his mind. That's what's going on. I don't want to talk about that because I feel like it's stupid, it's unnecessary, and it's the reason people laugh at the Knicks, right? You've got teammates who you know, were part of an almost successful Knicks team in the 90s, you know, going head to head, and it's not even Ewing. Again, it's all Oakley just being a jackass. So that happened, and that, you know, he kind of just it's like every couple of days, every once or twice a week, he comes up with something else to bash Ewing with. So it just makes no sense to me. It's like, dude, this guy went out there, and the funny thing about what he said it's not just about scoring points. People call him a 20 and 10 guy. Well, 20 and 10. I mean, when you're getting rebounds, it's not just about rebounds are points, guy. I mean, rebounds shows that he wasn't just a one-dimensional offensive weapon. So yeah, but some legitimate I feel like I'm where am I? Okay, some legitimate news that we've received lately. More actual news that people care about. The Knicks, we obviously heard about the Walt Perrin hiring, but the day after, right, the very next day, we hear that the Knicks went and they hired some guy by the name of Frank Zanin. Now, I'm not going to sit here and act like I know too much about Frank Zanin and even Walt Perrin, but like I said, it's good. It's positive for right off the bat. It's a slight positive more than it is anything else. It shows you that Leon Rose and the New York Knicks are being proactive, if anything, right? I mean, they had I don't know, was it a couple months back when they signed Brock Aller? Is it Aller? To take care of their finances and be their cap management guy. Then they re-signed Scott Perry as the GM, and obviously that's 50-50 split amongst the Knicks fan base, but it happened. They're being active. Then they went and got Perrin the other day to kind of be their draft manager, right? Assist Perry. And then Zanin, another guy who's going to assist Perry as one of the assistant GMs and kind of be in charge of personnel, being a pro personnel guy was the exact words. So yeah, I mean it's listen, it's good to see them hiring some folks, and obviously bringing in 2 or 3 new guys is going to lead to some exits, some jobs lost from some other guys, and that's another report that Stephen Bundy put out saying that it's not official yet, but it's likely that 3 executives in that front office are not returning, and those executives include Craig Robinson, Gerald Madkins, and Harold Ellis. So I don't know who they are, but I've heard a little bit about Robinson. But 3 guys who, sure, get them the hell out of there. The front office obviously had no clue what they were doing anyway. What I wanted from the start, and it seems like what we're getting is as much of a restart as we can up there, and that's a positive. It's a step in the right direction. Now, obviously, actions speak louder than words, and we're going to have to eventually see how these guys, put together respectable product, or if they can even do that. So we have to wait, but it's good to see them making something happen. I would rather them take this small market approach they're doing than try to do something, risky and high risk, high reward type of thing. I think given their current situation, right, a losing team trying to find a way to rebuild, this should be the way to go about it. This should be what they're doing. But yeah. About Zanin, I did do a little bit of research. Really couldn't find much. Although I know he's been in the NBA since 1999. He's had a job there. He actually played high school ball with Kobe, and Kobe tweeted a couple nice things about him, which everyone's flipping out about. Cool. But Zanin was an executive with the Thunder and the Nets for his 20 seasons in the NBA. So on top of the Perrin Jazz thing, Jazz being a competent franchise, Zanin's coming from another solid franchise with the Thunder. So, somebody who has a high basketball acumen, right? These 2 guys have kind of been praised around the league for being good executives, I guess. So we'll see what happens there. That's really, not much excitement in that aspect, but yeah. Why is this fuck? Huh. I don't know why this is frozen. I get caught up looking at the camera so much that I almost never realize that I missed the entire video that was supposed to be playing. Sorry guys, but it's just like a 20-second clip anyway. But we are going to head to break anyways. And when we get back, we're going to discuss Patrick Williams from Florida State. Played for the Seminoles for one season. He was a one and done at school. And yeah, that's pretty much it for the intro here. So let's take a quick break, and we will be right back, and we'll start our little show. All right. Hey fellas, really quick, I just want to remind you, in order to subscribe to BD4, to subscribe to my blog, and to follow me on social media, all you have to do is go to my website. That's it. Just go to nysportstalk.wordpress.com/connect. Once again, that is nysportstalkrc.wordpress.com/connect. Once there, guys, that will display all of my information. Where to subscribe to the podcast, how to subscribe to my blog, and where to follow me on social media. Guys, thank you so much, and let's get back to the show. As a combo forward out of Florida State, playing for the Seminoles. So I think Patrick Williams is an interesting prospect at the very least, very intriguing, at least to me. Some people are very high on him, actually, higher than I thought. But, I would take my chance with this kid if he were to fall, late. I really don't know because, he seems like some people are saying there's a chance he gets picked late lotto, and some folks are saying there's a chance he gets picked late first round. So I think he's definitely going to be a first round pick. The question just becomes what pick will he be available at? If the Knicks were to, be interested in him, my hope is that he would be available late. I would not want to waste my lotto pick on a Patrick Williams, and I'm not sure I want to trade up for him either with that second pick. I still think he's an intriguing prospect. He's a combo forward. 6'8", 225 pounds, a 6'11 wingspan, very large wingspan. 18 years old, doesn't turn 19 until August, so very young, likely to be a project, but hey, younger the better. Who played in the ACC for the Seminoles. This past season, his only season, he was a one and done. He played 29 games, did not start, 29 games off the bench, where he received 23 minutes of action a night. And averaged, the numbers aren't overwhelming, but he averaged 9 points, 4 rebounds, I just spit, and 1 assist. Doing so on 46% from the field, 50% from 2, 32% from 3, and 84% from the free throw stripe. Did this all on a volume of 7.1 field goal attempts per game, 1.7 3-point attempts, and 2.6 free throw attempts. 1 steal per game, 1 block per game, 1.7 turnovers, 1.6 personal fouls. And if you like, if you stretch the numbers out per 40 minutes, that goes to 16 points, 7 rebounds, 2 assists, okay, and a 19.4 player efficiency rating overall. So, yeah, I think he's going to be a first-round pick. It's where in the first round, that's the big question. Now, as for him as an NBA player, I would say high-end rotational player would be the likely outcome. But if he ends up peaking out and everything goes as we like, there's a chance he could be a low-end starter, somebody who could be a solid option to start for, a not as good NBA team like the Knicks. Now, I've heard a couple of comparisons, and honestly, all the comparisons that I've been hearing, I don't hate. I think there have been some decent comparisons. I've heard Markieff Morris, and that honestly is a very solid comparison. a good deep. We're gonna get into his aspects in a sec, but I've heard Markeith Morris. Um, I've heard a younger Kawhi Leonard. You know, a Kawhi Leonard before his first like 4 seasons before his offense fully developed. I think that's more what you're gonna get with Patrick Williams. I've also heard Al Farouk Aminu. That one I probably don't agree with as much as I do the former two, but I see it at least in his Portland days, right before he left. And was he traded or did he leave? I don't know, but he was a good player in Portland. I think is where he really peaked out. And my personal comparison here for Patrick Williams is what we hoped or what we eventually hoped to get, all depending on where you stand with Kevin Knox, right? Kind of a guy who has that same type of has or had, all depending on your stance, but that same type of skill set where we hoped he would thrive with what he can do. But Patrick Williams I would say he's a versatile pick and roll combo forward with a 3-and-D upside, right? More of a toolsy eye test kind of guy with solid athleticism and solid size. You're going to hear the word potential and upside thrown around a lot tonight. You'll probably hear that just because he's kind of a player that you kind of have to watch. He seems like a system player type, a player who's going to play within this scheme and doesn't really force himself or force the action, unnecessarily or go his own route too often. That's kind of where the Kawhi Leonard comparison comes in. Somebody who played, earlier in his career, at least before he became a superstar, somebody who plays within a system and doesn't shy away, go far two way. He doesn't go too far one way or another. So this could also make a good young trade chip. I mentioned he's an intriguing prospect to many. So maybe the Knicks take this pick and they advertise him and a little bit and see what they can get. You can put him in a package deal and try to attract some a bigger name. But let's get into his game a little bit. We'll start with the defense because that's one thing a lot of people like about him, his defense and his intangibles. We mentioned he's got good size, good length, a good strong frame, good athleticism, an energetic motor, very high motor, and just overall good instincts for the game. He can defend very versatilely. I would say eventually, if he improves, year to year, once he starts to groom in the NBA, there's a chance that he could be able to play anywhere from the 2 sliding up all the way to the 5. I would say that's possible. And honestly, guys, that's very invaluable to an NBA team to be able to play so many positions like that and defend so many positions is just indispensable. So, some of his great traits defensively, just a great weak side defender, an excellent help side shot blocker, a guy who will gamble in the passing lanes and go for that steal. And kind of be successful at it. He's a switchable defender too because of that size, and plus over at Florida State, they're a very, very good defensive team. They had a very switch heavy, scheme where they would force the drive and they would switch very often. So I think he's going to be switchable in the NBA, not going to cause issues there. And he uses his length to really contest on both, on all areas defensively. He can contest on the perimeter with that length, and he will be able to defend the interior as well. He will use his energy, again, that high motor, to attack aggressively on the offensive glass. Lots of times we see him follow up a shot going right to the rim to try to crash the boards. And that's very, again, something we really wanted to see out of Knox more. Defensively, he also, going back to D, he rotates well all around the floor. He can rotate. He slides his feet pretty well. He's got some decent vertical bursts as well, so he'll be able to have some pop in the paint defensively and get up there. Now, offensively, I think this is more of a potential thing than right now. There's an upside for him to be a decent 3-level scorer. He's solid, not great yet, but a solid finisher. At least he was at FSU, where he shot 56% at the rim. Now, you would like for that to be a little higher with his size, and we're going to get to that in a second. But yeah, a solid 56%. He's shown flashes too to really finish with either hand and finish in traffic too. So there's been some flashes. He's had some nice finishes at the rim, and it's just not been consistent yet. And again, very Knox like. You're going to find a lot of these things I say relate to Knox, whether it be what we hope to see or what we occasionally see with Knox, and what we, things like, a lot of things here relate to Knox. And 32% this past season from 3-point distance. Not great, but there are some indicators here that he could eventually have an upside as a shooter. The good free throw percentage kind of indicates an upside, right? 84%. Not a bunch of attempts, but 62 for 74 specifically, kind of a decent indicator. And then you look at, he's got a high, very high, unblockable, smooth release too. So hopefully one day, he could become a 35% shooter from downtown, which would be league average. So, so a good finishing ability, a good 3-point shot, and I would say his mid-range shot is really his best weapon right now offensively. He's a great mid-range shooter. He could pull up and he can shoot off the catch. He was over 40% in the mid-range this season. He was 50% or 51% on long twos. So, he's very effective in that area. He likes to go right a ton. He's exceptional at going right and pulling up, but he's pretty comfortable going left too. He'll pull up fairly comfortably going to his left as well, but I would say he's more right down, predominantly right. And he was also ranked in the 73rd percentile when it comes to pull-up jumpers and points per possession, which is very good. But yes, he's got a decent catch and shoot ability too. Most of his possessions actually came off of spotting up. I think 84% of his play types were 84 possessions were of the catch and shoot play type, spotting up. And he was pretty decent as a spot up guy, averaging .79 points per possession. That was about average in the NCAA. So he's got some catch and shoot ability, which, hopefully that leads to becoming a good pick and pop guy, because he's very good in the pick and roll. Very good scorer, ball handler, passer in the pick and roll. Actually, I have another number here. He ranked 89th percentile in terms of points per possession as a ball handler in PNR. Now, it was low volume, but it was still very productive. Only 24 possessions, but again, he still did rank in the 89th percentile. He'll take advantages, really, as a ball handler in pick and roll. He'll take advantages of every mismatch he gets, and that's pretty skillful for a big. Now, he's a good passer there too. He's got the vision. He's got the floor awareness. He'll make the good reads, can make the drive and kick pass. He'll make the timely roll passes, skip passes, cross court passes, off dribble passes, downhill passing, live action passes with his non-dominant hand. He can do that too. He's very skillful as a passer in PNR. All very impressive for a 4, and really just impressive for an 18-year-old kid, guys. So, pick and roll ability, shooting ability, finishing ability, defensive intangibles, and off ball ability too. Offensively, he can find the gaps when he's cutting, and he's a very good cutter, scoring in the 70th percentile in terms of points per possession this past season. So those are really his strengths. Now he's got some weaknesses too that we've got to think about. Of course, everybody's got a weakness, but he's got quite a few that make you wonder how great will he become. But everybody's got some. The first thing I have here is in no particular order, but his finishing still does need some work. Again, we talked about this. He should be a little better in terms of his percentage in the ERA, just due to his height, his length, his big hands. But he finishes low too often. He's not always finishing above the rim. And he's just inconsistent, especially on the drive. You'll see him lean into contact too much, and a lot of times he'll use his left shoulder to kind of generate contact and try to create space too. So that can, be a little bit reckless there. And we mentioned the switch heavy, scheme that FSU uses, trying to force drives a lot, and that worked for him. He was very switchable, but it also at the same time kind of masked his inability to stay in front of the opposing ball handlers on defense. So something to look out for as he enters the league. The athleticism is solid, but it still can improve because it still leads you to believe that is he athletic enough to play the 3, or does he have the size and strength to play the 4? He's a bit of a tweener right now. Another Knox issue that we're having with Knox right now. He's a bit of a tweener. Is he strong or big enough to play the 4? Is he quick enough to slide down to the 3? He's kind of got slow feet and slow hips, which will hurt him, once he lands on a closeout, and, that will kind of lead to a blow by on the dribble penetration from the opposing shooter. And he's just going to struggle with that lack of top end athleticism in space a lot, especially on closeouts. So I don't know. We'll see. He's going to have issues, obviously one-on-one issues if he's going to play the quicker wings, right, versus guards. That's going to be something we have to, I know he played an occasional 2 at Florida State. So I don't know. What is his true position, guys? I really, it's going to be interesting to see where teams fit him, and how the Knicks, if they do opt to draft him, how they're going to use him, because we know damn well they're not great at kind of finding positions for players. They experiment a lot. They've experimented with Frank at the 2. They've experimented with RJ at the 1. They've experimented with they put Knox as the starting shooting guard, a couple of times. So they like to experiment, and if they're going to draft someone like Patrick Williams, I almost said Patrick Ewing. If they're going to draft Williams, I would definitely expect the Knicks to experiment with him as well. So that's something to think about there. Another weakness I have here, he's still a bit of an inconsistent shooter. We mentioned that. Not much of a movement shooter. Not going to see him run through screens and really do anything like that. He's kind of got a slow release on the jumper. The follow through is nice, but it's still a little bit slow. At times, he can be a little stiff too when shooting it. He'll kind of force it, especially on closeouts. He'll force it and try to rush his shot attempt, and that leads to some pretty ugly misses. When he gets late pressure coming at him, that's cause, and we've seen it. If you watch this kid, he's had several air balls. So when he misses, it's at times it can be pretty ugly, right? And he'll kind of try to force it at times. The pass kind of has to be right into his shot pocket if he wants to get it off cleanly and fundamentally sound. Sometimes if it's not exactly in the shooting pocket, not where he wants it to be, not clean, not accurate, he's going to have a different form to it. And, that's why he's inconsistent as a shooter. He was actually just 27% after the new year from downtown. So he's going to have to find a way to become more consistent if he wants more playing time in the NBA, because that's obviously a big, it's a big part of the game today. You have to be able to shoot from beyond the arc. And the last 2 things here, I have that defensively, he's a little bit sloppy at times. The footwork isn't always clean. He's got to improve in terms of his footwork. Slow feet, kind of heavy-footed at times, kind of needs time to load, so he needs to improve there. And then he's a little indisciplined. He'll fall for the fake quite a lot, so he just kind of needs to. That's something I think that can improve with age and experience. He's only 18 years old. So overall, guys, that's pretty much it with Patrick Williams. A solid player who I would not mind taking. Again, some decent comparisons: Morris, Aminu, Young, Leonard, and what we hope to get out of Kevin Knox one day. So I think, as a versatile combo forward who has an ability to play the pick and roll, which is heavily relied on in today's game, has, an upside for shooting, which is heavily relied on, and can play defensively both inside and out, which is heavily relied on in today's league. That's big to me. I would definitely draft someone like Patrick Williams. It's just all going to come down to when he does get picked. Is he going to be higher on the board, lower on the board? My hope is that he's available lower on the board, so we could get him at our best value. But that's going to be it tonight, guys. Thank you so much for stopping by. Let me know what you think about Patrick Williams and how he could potentially fit or maybe not fit into this Knicks team and or what you just think his potential is as an NBA player. So let me know, guys, in the comments. And if you haven't subscribed to BD4, be sure to subscribe to the podcast. Do so right now by going to my website. Go to nysportstalkrc.wordpress.com/connect. Guys, thank you so much for stopping by. Episode 125 of BD4, where there is no better way to get your Yankees and Knicks analysis. Yeah, then that's it. That's all we got tonight. The next show will be, if it's not tomorrow, it'll be the next day. I'm trying to find. We're kind of running out of prospects, but again, 3 or 4 more guys, and we should be able to move on to the lotto. So, guys, thank you so much for coming by. I'm your host, Rob Carbone, and I'm signing out. All right, ciao.